Coming up, Springdale District Television special on voting featuring first-time voters from Springdale High School. Plus, a video about the Red Ribbon Rally celebrated by thousands of students at Bud Walton Arena. And later, Dr. Jim Rollins discusses the impact of technology from the Race to the Top grant. Springdale Today starts now.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Springdale Today. I'm Paola Mata.
And I'm Michael Driscoll. Today is November 12th, 2014. Last Tuesday was Election Day, and Springdale High School helped the youth by organizing a bus of first-time voters and taking them to HAR-BER Ballpark to cast their first vote. Hazley has the story.
Why Springdale?
A major trend in America is early voting. Springdale High School students got on a bus and went to HAR-BER Ballpark to participate in early voting.
I think it's really great anytime that we can get our students involved in the democratic process here in our state, to get them involved in voting and having a say in what goes on in our community and our state.
According to Assistant Principal Don Eichenberger, getting students involved at an early age will help because they become lifelong voters, and then they tell other people in their families and their communities why it is important to vote.
Because a lot of our students particularly don't know how to access resources in town. Now then they can go back and tell everybody in their family how to vote, and we can have a greater participation.
For the past 3 years, Springdale High School's Social Studies Department has put together an event to get kids more in touch with the voting process.
The goal is to graduate kids that are civic-minded, and sometimes the election process at first time can be a little daunting, so our goal is to help kids feel comfortable with the election process and help them get registered and to get them in for the first time to vote.
For students like Chris Aguilar, today is important because he feels like he is making a change in America.
Felt pretty good, man. I wanted to do right for our country. Didn't want anyone to, feel bad that they didn't vote. And so I just, wanted to vote, make our country better.
For SDTV, I'm Hazley.
Thank you, Hayes. Now let's take a look at those election results. The main race winners of this election were Tom Cotton for the Senate and Asa Hutchinson for the governor. There were other winners as well, and if you'd like to see them, you can head to any major news provider like KNWA, 4029, or 5 News.
Voting has always been an important tradition to all Americans. Let's take a look at the history of voting. Americans' first election day came after fighting for our independence, a fight that cost many lives. But the fight was worth it because instead of being ruled by a king, we finally got the right to make our own laws. Well, not all of us had the right to vote because back then in 1789, you had to own property and be a white man to vote. That continued for another 80 years until after the Civil War when slavery was ended. All men, regardless of the race, were given the right to vote. But just because the law said that African Americans could vote didn't actually mean they could. There were several obstacles they had to overcome, like the literacy test and poll taxes. African Americans had to fight for nearly 100 years before a Voting Rights Act passed in 1965. But the African Americans weren't the only ones who had to fight for their right to vote. Women also got left out. Women went state by state fighting for their right to vote, then decided to take the fight to Washington, and finally got the right to vote across the country in the 1920s. And now, thanks to all their fighting for everyone's right to vote, people from every race and gender get to vote and get to choose our laws. Remember, it's very important to vote. When you are 18, register to vote and vote every election. The next election is in 2 years, and it's a big one. You will be voting for the next president of the United States.
Yesterday was Veterans Day. Here is the history of Veterans Day and why we celebrate it.
World War I, known at the time as the Great War, officially ended when the Treaty of Versailles was signed on 1919 in the Palace of Versailles outside the town of Versailles, France. However, fighting ceased 7 months earlier when the armistice or temporary cessation of hostilities between the Allied nations and Germany went into effect on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. For that reason, November 11, 1918 is generally regarded as the end of all wars. In November 1919, President Williamson proclaimed November 11th as the first commemoration of Armistice Day with the following words: To us in America, the reflection of Armistice Day will be filled with solemn pride in the heroism of those who died in the country's services and with gratitude for the victory, both because of the thing from which it has freed us and because the opportunity it has given America to show her sympathy with peace and justice in the councils of the nations. The original concept for celebration was for a day to be observed with parades and public meetings and a brief suspension of business beginning at 11 a.m. Veterans Day continues to be observed on November 11th regardless of what day it falls in. The restoration of the observance of Veterans Day to November 11th not only preserves the historical significance of the date, but helps us focus attention on the importance, purpose of Veterans Day. A celebration to honor America's veterans for their patriotism, love of country, and willingness to serve and sacrifice for the common good.
Thank you, Cynthia. Make sure you thank any veteran that you have in your life for helping provide a free country. We probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for them.
We did a short piece asking people how they feel about Veterans Day and what Veterans Day means to them. Check this out.
Why is Veterans Day important to you?
Well, my father-in-law is a veteran. He served in Vietnam, and I think that we cannot do enough to honor the people that have fought for our freedom. Veterans Day is just one day out of the year, but we honestly need to honor them every single day because they sacrificed so much to keep America free and to keep all the freedoms that we enjoy.
Well, Veterans Day should be important to all Americans because it preserves their freedom in America. We don't want to be like other countries and be told what to do and not have the freedom of speech, the freedom to walk down the street without being killed or drugged through the streets.
I think it's important just because a lot of people have fought for our country, for our right, even just the other day for voting for different people and also for the freedoms that we have here. I think it's pretty awesome to know that people are willing to give their lives for everybody here in this country.
What message would you like to give them?
I don't know what it's like to do something like that, to risk a lot. I do have, my dad served in the military and my aunt and my uncle, and so yeah, just thank you.
That we love you and that we're proud of you and that we need to do everything in our power to make sure that your life, now that you have served your country, is as full as possible. Anything we can do to help them, I think we need to do.
Thank your veterans for the time and the putting their life on the line to preserve your freedom. And any kids that are growing up that hear this message, being in the military and supporting the United States and the freedom of the United States is very important. So give it your all. Happy Veterans Day.
Springdale Schools proudly celebrates Veterans Day by having Veterans Day celebrations in nearly every building in our district. For several of our Veterans Day celebrations, we shoot video and upload to our YouTube channel. Please go to the YouTube channel to check them out.
October 23rd and 31st was the Red Ribbon Rally. Thousands of students went to Bud Walton Arena to celebrate the Red Ribbon Rally. Cynthia Magana was there and files this report.
Drug-free forever, run!
Pepper Up, a community liaison with the Springdale Schools Communications Office, chanted to a crowd of students on being drug-free.
You love me, love yourself, be drug-free.
Thousands of fifth graders from many of the districts in Northwest Arkansas attended the 17th annual Red Ribbon Rally event at the Bud Walton Arena on October 30th. Red Ribbon Week was brought to the Northwest Arkansas Bud Walton Arena 17 years ago to help kids understand how dangerous drugs can be. College student athletes came down from the U of A to talk about being drug-free.
Thanks for coming here today, and I just want to say, if you want to be a successful person, you should make good decisions, be on time, and stay away from drugs and alcohol. Do not do drugs or alcohol. You will not be able to perform the best you can. if you're doing drugs or alcohol, and that is very important in being recruited, ending up here one day with all of us. So if all your friends are doing it and think it's cool, no, it's not cool. You know what's cool? Being a college student athlete like us. So
Along with Pepper Rep, Miss Arkansas came to share a message to the students about being drug-free.
I knew that I wanted to give this back, and I wanted to study physics.
For Springdale District Television, this is Cynthia Magaña.
Awesome story. After the event, Helen Tyson Middle School was named Community Partner of the Year.
Okay, now it's time for news around the district. Springdale High School Law Academy put a mock trial based on the novel Frankenstein by Mary Shellman. Law Academy students took the roles of prosecution, defense, defendant, police, CSI, and other trial roles. SHS Bulldog TV collaborated with the Law Academy by filming the police interrogations and arrests to be used in their modern film adaptation of the novel.
41 Central Junior High students visited Crystal Bridges Friday and plan to share much of what they learned in the project with George third graders. Coming up after the break, we do a little dancing at Westwood Elementary, and later Dr. Jim Rollins joins us in the studio to talk about the infusion of technology in the Springdale schools.
Veterans Day is important to me because my brother was in the Army, so we celebrate it.
It's to show appreciation for the veterans that have served and are currently serving for us right now.
Because my grandfather has fought for World War II, and he helped keep America free in the time that it was the hardest. And I just appreciate everyone who's fought to keep America free.
It's a really important holiday because the veterans fight for our rights.
To come home safe, and thank you for fighting for our country.
Keep America free, and we all think of you and you're out there fighting for us, and the blood you shed, it's for a great cause, and we all thank you.
Parents, we all want our children to be safe in school, but in case of an emergency, how can the school communicate with us? That's why it's very important for our schools to have all your information up to date. If you have moved, changed your phone number, or any other information from your student's registration card has changed, then it's time to update it by communicating with your child's school. This is for their safety, because we all want what's best for our children.
Welcome back. The Pineapple Tree Dance Company came to Westwood Elementary School and performed for their students. Their performance was spectacular and geared towards the content from their current unit in the book they were reading. Check it out.
This is Duplexity. This is the training company for Pineapple Tree Dance Company, and we are performing The Very Lonely Firefly, which is a community outreach event that we've done. This is our 4th time to perform it. Community is kind of the purpose of Duplexity. Duplexity is a training company for Pineapple Tree. They get free training in exchange for performing for local community events.
So we're doing the Firefly dance. It is basically about like finding your place in the world and like finding who it is that you belong with and essentially where your place is.
Most of our company is made up of high school kids. I have one that just graduated from college, but we have some that are at HAR-BER, and then the rest of them are at Arkansas Arts Academy.
Our goal is to inspire them to become dancers, or to see, like for the story, the Firefly story, it's to help you find the people that you want to be with and that community that you want to be a part of. So that's the message we're trying to send to the little kids.
They train during the day. A lot of them take ballet class during the day. They're required to take ballet class during the week. And then we have rehearsals in the evening. So some of them are rehearsing 3 or 4 days a week, apart from taking classes. So they're very dedicated to what they do. This is their art form, their way of expressing themselves.
If you'd like more information on the Pineapple Tree Dance Company, you can visit pineappletreedancecompany.org.
This week at SHS, Diego and Eileen tell us how Miss Johnson's Art 3 class celebrated Dia de los Muertos, also known as Day of the Dead. Take a look.
El Dia de los Muertos is a holiday celebrated in Mexico and other cultures.
It focuses on gatherings of families and friends to pray and remember loved ones who have died. Mrs. Johnson's Art 3 class shows us how they brighten up the courtyard.
So my Art 3, they are building paper-mache sugar skulls for Dia de los Muertos, and we are doing a yarn bombing installation in the courtyard. So we'll be wrapping trees in these beautiful, bright yarn weavings, and this is an installation art movement that's going on all over the world just to sort of brighten up public places and just for people to enjoy artwork on their way to work or things like that. But we're also incorporating Dia de los Muertos, so we're making paper-mache skulls to also hang from the trees.
You can also do this fun activity using materials from home.
We are using really simple materials for the paper-mache project. Balloons, newspaper, and the mixture, the paper-mache mixture is wood glue and water. It's a sturdier mixture for if the paper-mache is going to be outside. And then we'll end up painting these and then decorating with Sharpie to make them the traditional sugar skull.
This project requires many preparations in order to be accomplished.
Well, my favorite part of this project, since I didn't do the knitting part, okay, so we did this balloon, right? I put newspapers on it, they were ripped. We had to put like this glue paint on it, right? I put the newspaper on the balloon. It felt like really, really relaxing when I did it.
Art isn't only about painting and drawing. It's about hands-on creativity and maybe even making someone's day.
I think they're learning that art is personal, but it also can be for the public, and something bright and cheerful can maybe change someone's day and maybe make someone stop and just wonder at their creation. And they're also learning how to sculpt and how to weave, so several art techniques through this project too.
Day of the Dead is a holiday celebrated by most Latin countries that honors the dead by having festivals. Despite the name, it's very cheerful and colorful. From Bullock TV, this is Diego.
Dia de los Muertos was first celebrated in 1519 when the Spanish invaded Mexico, but it's also celebrated in remembrance of the long-gone ancient civilization that once lived in Mexico.
Also, remember, you can do this activity at home too with simple materials. Coming up after the break, Dr. Jim Rollins joins us in the studio to talk about the immediate impact technology is making in our district through the Race to the Top grant. And after that, we show an interesting history on why we fall back with daylight savings time.
Veterans Day is important to me because you get to remember the ones who've fallen and also the ones who have served for us.
Veterans Day is important to me because you respect the troops that went out for you and served the country.
We as people can thank and give in return to the people who have served and protected us for many generations.
To keep it up and fight through.
Just to say thank you for serving the country and being there for us.
I would like to say thank you to all the veterans who have supported the United States, and we hope that you come back safe.
Every year, 4,600 lives are lost to teen suicide, leaving even more people devastated.
There's a lot of hurt out there in the world. There's also a lot of people who care.
Don't take a permanent solution to a temporary problem.
I know life might be hard now, but there's always someone there for you.
Even if we don't know 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 you.
There are always people who care.
Welcome back. Dr. Jim Rollins, Superintendent of Springdale Schools, has led the Springdale Schools to be nationally recognized through the Race to the Top grant. He joined Mr. Rick Schaefer in the studio to talk about the impact of technology.
Welcome to our visit with Superintendent Dr. Jim Rollins. Dr. Rollins, through Race to the Top, an incredible infusion of technology into this district. What does that mean to Springdale schools?
Well, technology clearly provides advanced tools for learning. In my view, the great teacher with those tools available to them in the hands of their students really can extend learning as perhaps we never have before. Students learn in a very personal way. They have their own goals, their own priorities, their own interests, and when you can use technology to really connect students' interest to the learning, you really have something very special. It seems for the last few years we've been trying to lay the foundation and understand ourselves and build capacity, again, among all of our staff in terms of what personalized learning can really be. And at the heart of that initiative has been our new School of Innovation that's helping carry that theme. And my hope is that those kids who are involved in the School of Innovation will really serve as almost a lab school that will benefit them in their learning and allow them to move at their own pace and not just earn a high school diploma, but at the same time earn an associate's degree from the Northwest Arkansas Community College. Those are major benefits to every child who experiences that. And then, of course, we want every kid in the school district to have that opportunity over time. And it's a growth process, and we're learning a little bit more about how to do it every day. Dr. Ted Sizer, who's a noted educational leader nationwide, several years ago, as he worked with the secondary principals of the nation, the high school principals specifically, he said the next great wave of educational reform is personalizing teaching and learning. And we're right in the middle of that growth process today, and I think our kids will benefit from that every step of the way. So it's exciting, it's about as exciting as anything I've ever seen in our work. And our work is filled with one exciting opportunity after another. But I think as our teachers really take on that commitment and realize that every child learns in a very special, very unique way, and then as they gain expertise in using the technologies that are emerging every day and the one-to-one technology that's now available as a result of Race to the Top, there's no limit to what Springdale kids can accomplish.
Reminds me of a visit I had last week to Lakeside Junior High. Winfield Watson was recently named the Social Studies Teacher of the Year in the state of Arkansas.
By the way, we think he's been that for many years. So.
That's true. But he talked about how having the technology has changed his teaching from just being strictly lecture to a lot of student involvement. Teachers have to adjust to this, don't they?
Well, I think so. And we are learning as we go. Every teacher will be a little different. Their comfort level, their readiness level will vary, but they're learning. And our kids are right in the midst of it. And you know, one of the great things about our profession is when teachers and principals and superintendents can learn right along with their kids, you really have something special going. And we're developing that kind of culture in the Springdale school system. It's our great teachers that have made this work over time, followed very closely by our great principals. And when you have teachers and principals and parents joining them in the partnership, great things are going to happen for our kids.
Great things have happened for the kids in the Springdale School District. Hope you enjoyed this visit with Dr. Jim Rollins, and join us next time when we talk again with the Superintendent of Springdale Schools.
Springdale Schools was ranked #1 in the Race to the Top.
A lot of really cool things are happening at our Springdale schools, one of which is expansions of videos throughout our district. What you are seeing here is a video from Husky Choir Concert, Weather to Weather, from November 3rd. Every school in our district has played and is uploading tons of videos. Just go to YouTube, search Springdale Schools, and share all the awesome videos.
So I have an interesting question. Why do we do daylight savings time? Take a look at this graphic. Today, daylight savings time is used to save energy and to make better use of daylight. The idea has been suggested in ancient times and later by famous scientists. Daylight savings time is now used in over 70 countries worldwide and affects over 1 billion people every year. The beginning and end dates vary from one country to another.
Well, that's all we have for you this episode. We leave you with some Halloween trick-or-treaters.
We hope you enjoy the show and have a fantastic week, and we'll see you next time.